Should I reconnect with my friend who asked? Some context. My husband, let's call him Brett, and I have been together since 2015, when I was in 9th grade and he was in 10th. I am 28 and he's now 29. My high school best friend, let's call her Rachel, and I used to be inseparable. Keyword, used to be. We hung out at each other's houses every day. We took her dress shopping with us every year for school formals, and we even got matching belly button piercings when we got older. Needless to say, we were tight. Brett also had a best friend, let's call him Mark, and they were also inseparable. Just a few months after Brett and I got together, Rachel let me know she was now dating Mark. Rachel and I are the same grade, and Mark and Brett are the same grade as well. So our senior year, while Rachel and I were in school, Brett started college and Mark joined the military. It was during our senior year that Rachel decided to marry Mark, so that when she graduated, they could live on base together. Also important to note, her family that she lived with were all drunks, so her home life wasn't great. Fast forward 5 years, Rachel and Mark travel around every few years to a new base, but always would come back once a year to visit. Over the years, we would still talk, but we weren't as close as we were in high school. Me being a people pleaser, I would drop everything and hang out with her anytime they were in town. The only sucky part was that she would also invite all her other high school friends over at the same time, and it always felt like she was pitting us against each other for who could get more of her attention, especially with her friends, let's call them Carrie and Jane. This is important to note later. This particular time she came to visit, they had a big party at Mark's dad's house and invited 20 plus people. I didn't know this until I showed up. I was told it would just be me, her, and her newborn baby, who she just had not even 2 months earlier. She then told me she wanted everyone to meet her new son and apologized she didn't tell me. Again, with me being a people pleaser, I brushed it off. As the night goes on, Rachel, Mark, and most of the other guests besides Brett and myself began enjoying the devil's lettuce. Now for the interesting part. At one point in the night, Rachel hands her baby off to someone and asks to talk to me in private. Oh, about what? I'm gonna sit up in my chair for this one. I was so excited, thinking she wanted one-on-one time with me, which only made the whole exchange worse. She walks with me around to the other side of the house and we sit in some chairs on the back porch. She began asking me all about my life lately and showing what I thought was real genuine interest in me, only fueling my excitement. After about 10 minutes of back and forth, I asked her how her and Mark have been lately with a newborn around. This is when she tells me they've decided to start an open marriage. And they have a man back home in Nebraska living with them that they giggity-goo with as a throuple. Oh. Now, I was surprised, but Rachel's always been a bit wild, so the idea of that wasn't totally out of the realm of what I thought possible. I mean, listen, as long as both people consent to it, why not? She went on to talk about how they swap spouses on the base, and they both have been enjoying it. Somewhere in this conversation, I find out this isn't a new thing. Somewhere in this conversation, I find out this wasn't a new thing. They had been doing this for 2 years. I brushed it off and listened to her talk. I mean, who was I to judge for her trying new things? If that's what keeps them happy, then good for them. Not like it has anything to do with me. That is what I thought until she casually threw in the question about what Brett was like in intimate settings. It caught me off guard, especially because I'm pretty closed off to the conversation with anyone about that part of our life, because Brett gets uncomfortable with other people knowing details, which I can totally understand. So I tell her I wasn't really comfortable sharing that, to which she replies, "Well, I'm hoping you'll let me find out for myself before we head home next week." Excuse me. I just kind of looked at her and she continued by asking my permission to confront Brett with the offer to sleep with him. She even went on to say I could borrow Mark for a few hours in exchange. Okay. In addition, she let me know it wouldn't be weird because they'd couple swapped with almost every other person at the party besides us. That still doesn't make it like normal. She talked about how Carrie and Jane were so generous to switch with her and she felt closer to them than ever. It felt like she was trying to manipulate me into saying yes because by doing so, I would be on the same playing field as Carrie and Jane. Again, with pitting us against each other. After a few seconds, I felt like something snapped in me and I said no, and I just walked back to the front of the house with the rest of the party. I looked around for Brett so we could leave, but he was so deep in what looked like a meaningful conversation with Mark that I didn't want to ruin that for him. He never gets to see him, so I thought I would wait until they looked like they were done to approach. That, of course, did not stop Rachel from walking right up to them and explaining her and Mark's open relationship and asking him to have sex with her. The nerve of her to even ask after I said no. Out of curiosity, I didn't interrupt. I wanted to see what Brett's answer would be. His face turned red and he immediately said, "I'm honored you would ask, but no thank you." He then turned and walked right up to me and asked if we could go, which we did. Fast forward to now, 5 years later, and we've barely spoken. At this point in my life, Brett and I are married, and we did invite them to the wedding. Oh, okay, so you weren't married before. I thought he was your husband. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And we did invite them to the wedding, which was awkward, and Rachel only made it worse by telling everyone how she wanted to ruin our wedding. We are pregnant with our first child. Rachel has contacted me on Facebook saying how happy she was for us and wanted to send us a gift. Okay, that's honestly the least she can do. This is the first kind of interaction I've had with her in 5 years. Here's my dilemma. We also have our 10-year class reunion next month, and she asked Brett and I to hang out while they are in town. A lot of time has gone by between then and now, and I know Brett really wants to see Mark, then he can see Mark. But out of respect for my issues in the past with Rachel, he has not asked. That being said, should I man up and say yes to him seeing them and rekindling our friendship, or has that ship sailed at this point? Any outside thoughts would be appreciated. Thanks.